Evening, everybody. It's 5:45, and this is your closing comment for Monday, the 4th of April. It is video number 1217 for this Monday afternoon. Okay, market was up. Primarily, it was the FANG and mega cap stocks. The Dow was only up 100 after being down 200, so up 103 is 0.3%. Advanced declines there 6 to 5 to the upside. But those mega caps and those stocks in the NASDAQ were the big winner, even though the internals were not great. The NASDAQ was up 271.05 or 1.9%. Advanced declines, though, were only 3 to 2, and volume was down almost 20%, certainly a full 15% from Friday's numbers. So as we continue higher in that arena, we seem to be losing a little bit of the lifeblood of the market, which is volume. S&P up 36.78 or 0.8%. The Russell was up scant $4.33. And the transports, which got pounded the end of last week, were down just 10.43. The VIX was 18.57. That's down 106 or 5.4%. It's getting to the complacent level. And with days like today, I'm not really all that surprised. As it relates to stocks, the biggest news, of course, was Twitter. Traded as high as 53.03 this morning. When we talked, it was in the neighborhood of 48 and high change. Like I said, got as high as 53.03. Last is 50.29, up 10.98 or 28% on the Elon Musk becoming the biggest shareholder. I think he owns 5 times what Jack Dorsey owns. So we'll see what goes on there. Maybe he's going to let Trump back. I don't know. Be kind of hard, but I will tell you that TWTR, which is Trump's platform, was down pretty big today. I saw it down about $8. It actually closed 56.37, and that was down 6.88 or just under 11%. Remember that's the one in October that went from 9.95 to 175 in a week, and then back down to 94.20 that Friday on the close, and then the following week was down another 25. It had worked its way back up to 100, now basically cut by 40%, 45% back to 56 and change. Tesla was also higher. They reported their delivery numbers, which were better than expected, but not quite as good as some of the street was looking for. It wasn't really doing very much this morning. It was up about $7 at 1,092, but it managed to close here. Last trade is 1,144.80, up 60 and change or 5.5%. Salesforce was up 7, that was 3.3%. Apple was up almost $4, 2.3%. And Facebook coming to life over the last couple of sessions, trading right now 233.93, up 908 or 4%. And that brings us to the loser of the day. And I just have to tell you, this to me is what the problem is with this market and people's expectations. The name in question is StarBucks. Howard Schultz coming back for the third time. This is a company that seems to not be able to be run by anybody but Howard Schultz. So really no valid and workable succession plan. This stock is currently trading 88.09, down 340 or 3.7%. The high last year was 126, and the high this year was 120. So we moved from 120 to 80, 33% down, and we barely bounced off that. The reason that I say that this is the poster child is because, number one, they sell an overpriced product, not a high priced product. If you're a Ford Focus owner, then you think a Cadillac is a high priced alternative, and it is. Well, up here in the Northeast, where you can go to a Dunkin' Donuts and save 40% of what you're getting at Starbucks, that's pretty serious competition. On top of that, they've canceled or put on hold, essentially canceled, their stock buyback. Also, their input prices are absurd. The price of coffee is dramatically higher. The price of milk is dramatically higher. The price of all of those things that they also offer, like oat milk and soy milk and all the other crap, is in fact getting more and more expensive. And oh, by the way, remember that this is a company that didn't have unions, but a couple of stores have voted to have unions. So import costs up, a public that I think is getting, let's say, a little overstretched, just a little, um, for paying $7 for a coffee, and a barista who wants to get paid a living wage. So these are the problems, and frankly, I mean, I wouldn't own this stock, and I think there are 100 reasons not to, but hey, you know, that's just me. Okay, on the futures side, we had the oil up $4, closed pretty close to the high. The high was 103.94, closed to 103.28. I'm just going to go through these quickly on the daily close-in charts. As we said this morning, and as I said yesterday in last night's letter, we are bouncing off this 50-day moving average right at the same support area where it was before. Same thing it did here, and the uptrend line going right through this area. We have a fairly steep, I haven't drawn this, but I will show you. We have a fairly steep decline here that it looks like it'll be pretty easy to break out of. That would be a close anywhere over about 108. I would also be keying off this close from the 30th of last month, which I guess was Wednesday, and that was 107.82. So if we go through that, maybe a little bit of resistance at 115, I think we make higher highs. Gold also bounced off an area of support that I pointed out both in last night's letter and this morning again. And what we have here is a little bit of a flagging out where we've moved to the downside, but we are right in support again. This is 1900. This is where we had a low today, right across all of this. The last important breakout to the upside, the last one pullback, slightly lower pullback that bounced off that 50-day again. And here we closed, right on the line, about 2/3 up on the range and up on the day. Bitcoin was down 465, not much going on there, not much going on in the dollar, up 34 cents. The bonds were down a point today. I believe that that's getting back into support, but I'm going to take a look. We have a position in the TLT, which we're losing a couple of dollars on, maybe 30, 40 cents on the $10, $15 options, but looks like we are trying to bottom here, and it would not surprise me to see this back up into the 152 area. Two charts that I want to show you tonight. both of which I think look really interesting. One we have a position in that we're right around even on, that's the corn. Um, the corn was kind of weird. We had this really nice pennant. We broke out of it on the downside and then broke out of it back to the upside. We've been consolidating for the last week, and on Thursday we had a crop report where they were talking about the amount of corn to be planted would be substantially lighter, um, because it was being replaced with soybeans, which sell for 150% over this and can grow on the same piece of land. So we got up there, we closed in the middle, we tried the bottom on Friday. Today we had a higher high and a higher low, closing practically on that high. We have a whole series of closes in here. And I think that once we can get above that, the high close here was 762 and a half. We closed today 750 and a half. If we can close above that, certainly on a Friday, I think we're going substantially higher. The other one I want to show you is copper. We can trade this with COPX or CPER. They are both copper ETFs. And I mentioned this because I had this in last night's letter. I'm going to show you on a little longer term basis. What we have here is a really nice consolidation that goes all the way back to this last breakout back in April, the end of April last year. So we've basically spent a year going sideways. To put this in a little better perspective, here's the longer term chart. And copper being traditionally a dollar and a quarter commodity, so right around in here. We moved substantially higher, came back down, and we've been consolidating. This is a huge bottom. It would look something like this big W, down, up, back down to test it, and then higher. This area of consolidation, I'm going to try and clean that up for you a little. There you go. This area of consolidation is it's in the same area as the top and consolidating from there to higher. I think that if this breaks out, we're going to see substantially higher prices. This $5 that it traded 2 months ago, or actually last month, March of 22, it traded 503.95. That was a new all-time high. Let's remember that not only is copper used in electric vehicles, it's also used in the grid. It's also used in batteries and solar. So this is a commodity that could easily move substantially higher. And I'll be looking for a trade for us, and I will get to you as soon as I find the appropriate vehicle. All right, everyone, have a good evening. I'll be back first thing in the morning.